Hi, my name is Celia Strickland, and I'm the owner of Sweets from the Soul. We are an online retailer of cookie cutters and cookie stencils, as well as fondant tools. I will be showcasing ways in which you can layer elements to create a beautiful, multicolored image on your cookie without the use of an edible printer. Let's talk about all of our supplies that we will need for this tutorial. You always want to begin with a good set of plaque cookies. When I design a cookie set, I always start with an intricate cookie cutter such as this, and I usually use it in 2 different sizes. And then to add to that, I use smaller cutters in basic shapes such as ovals, squares, and circles. Of course, you'll need cookies that are fully dried. You should be flooding them the day before and allowing them to dry overnight. To hold your stencil in place, you will need a stencil genie. If you don't have a stencil genie, you can also use magnets to hold the stencil down. Today I'll be using the magnets to weight the stencil elements down on our stencils. We will also be doing some roll icing scraping, so you'll need a stencil scraper. You'll need scribes. Here I have a Thingamagenie and just a regular scribe by Wilton. Of course, you'll need an airbrush machine and airbrush colors. I prefer Amerimist. They come in various different sizes and different colors. For our next cookie, we're going to be using a layered stencil. This stencil has multiple layers in which we can use to lay down a background, a foreground, and then in various elements of detail. This is the Fall Flower stencil. It's a multi-layered stencil that we'll be using today. I always lay out my design on cardstock so that I can test the color palette that I want to use. And in this case, I think I like this particular combination. We're going to be using gold, avocado with a brown overlay, moss with a brown overlay, terracotta, regal purple, and then just a drop of maroon in there to take out some of that harshness of the regal purple. This is a 3 stencil set, so I'm going to begin with the one marked number 1. I like this Noah cutter because it does have curved edges so that our flowers will sit just in those areas, and I think that gives a good effect to it. So I will make sure that I have my cookie straight and line up the edges of my stencil where I want it to lay. This cookie does have some high places and low places, so I'm going to be placing some magnets on the edges just to weight it down so that we don't have any underspray. Our first color is going to be the gold. I always like to start with a lighter color, as I said before, to ensure that we don't have any bleed there. Let's test that out. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, as I begin, I'm going to begin with a light coating around the edges of the flower, leaving that center area open for right now just to get that shading in on our first pass. We're going to jump up here and grab the goldenrod flowers. We are also going to go over our leaf, again leaving the inner portions bare for that shading effect. Now, before I move my stencil, I want to go ahead and grab a little bit of the moss color and just go around the edges of these leaves. Again, these are fall flowers, so we're going to have some variegation in the veining of the leaves. So I think that will add a nice little touch to it. Alright, holding our Genie in place, we'll take up the magnets and rock the Genie off. And that looks good. Alright, we'll give that just a few minutes to dry and we'll go to our second stencil. In looking at our second stencil, that's going to be the terracotta that we use for this flower. And you notice that it also has leaves there. So I'm going to use those leaves and the edges of the flower to line it up. It's very simple to line these up with the other flowers once you get them into place. I know that I have none of my other colors showing through, so I have it right where I need it to be. Now, before I change out, I'm going to go ahead and use that moss green to do these leaves right here on the edges, because those will give it a little bit more deeper tone if I do that. Again, I'm simply going around the outer edges. Here are the stems for the goldenrods. We'll go ahead and grab those. There's one right over here on the edge of that flower. So I'll be very careful and work very close just to get the edge of that stem. I have another one over here. Sometimes it's difficult to see them when the light is shining in your eyes. All right, let's go back now and go back over this leaf to give it a little bit more depth. And we have that. Let me clean out my gun and get all of that green out now. All right, let's move on into the terracotta for this the next mom in our series. I'm going to be very careful around these edges not to get that other section. And we'll come back into the center of this mom and give it a little bit more darkness there. All right. And there we have that section. All right, our last color is going to be the regal purple. And we're going to be doing this mom as well as the berries over to the sides. And to that regal purple, we're going to be adding a drop of maroon. Just to give it a more muted effect. There we go. So let's go ahead now and line up our stencil in the void that was left by the other elements of the stencil. They're very easy to line up. Starting with our berries up here at the top, I'm just going to go around the outer parts of the berries, going very slowly, holding down that stencil so as to prevent any underspray and holding my gun at a 90-degree angle. And there we have it. Oh, that's gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? You know, I wish I had an edible printer. It's not feasible for my business because I don't do cookies full-time anymore. But using layered stencils can give you the same effect and give you a beautiful multicolor, multidimensional image on your cookie. I wanted to include a message on our cookie, and I wanted to let it be able to have a little bit of a dimension. So we're going to make a tag to go on our cookies next. We're starting with just white rolled fondant. We're going to roll it out to a very thin level. We don't want it to be that thick when we're putting it on our cookie. Okay, and see, you can tell it's a very thin, it's not very thick at all because it's going to dry flat. All right, now we're going to use our Thanksgiving Messages and Frames set, and I'm going to go ahead and choose a frame to put out. All right, this particular set has frames, and it also has areas that you could use to do some shading if you want, but I don't think I want to do any shading today. We may do shading on one of them just to see how it looks. I think I'm going to choose this one here. It's a little bit fancy. And we'll try it with some shading first. Again, we want to use our magnets to hold it down. We are just going to go around the very edges with just a little bit of shading, just keeping it right inside our stencil. And then we'll come back around it with our frame. Alright, let's see, that looks pretty good. Alright, now I want to do one without the shading and see how that looks. I just want the frame on this one. What do you think? Oh, those look good. All right, now let's go in with our messages. I think for this one I want to do a thankful, and I want to do it in the royal purple. All right, those look good. We're going to allow those to dry for just a few minutes. We don't want them to get too dry because then as we cut them, they will crack. As I began to place the message elements on the cookie, I decided to use the tag with the shadowing effect. I remembered that I had a fall stencil, so I added the message Happy Fall to the tag as it also fit well within the frame. I am using a thick royal icing to attach the tag at a slight angle. To gain more dimension, you can also use a small ball of fondant to lift the tag off the cookie. To do so, you would glue the fondant to the cookie and the tag to the fondant with royal icing. I've added a fondant bow to one of the cookies in the set as well, and royal icing buttons on top. You could continue to add embellishments if so desire, but I am happy with this design. Thank you for joining me today. I hope I've been able to entice you to add some of these techniques to your cookie decorating skills. All of the cutters and stencils are available at Sweets from the Soul as both a physical product that will ship quickly as well as a digital file that you can download and cut or print at home. At Sweets from the Soul, you will find a large variety of quality cookie cutters and stencils, as well as cookie class kits, full tutorials, and my blog where I share tips and ideas to help you in your cookie journey. For more content and full tutorials, please follow us on social media. On Facebook at Sweets from the Soul 912, on Instagram at Sweets from the Soul, and at our YouTube channel, Sweets from the Soul, where you will find full tutorials as well as cute shorts that will help you. May you have a blessed and joy-filled holiday season, and I will see you again soon at Sweets from the Soul.